Welcome to the Motorcycle Travel Channel. I'm Sterling, and I'm in New Mexico. This is the second video in my motorcycle travel series across the state of New Mexico. In this episode, I'll head over to Elephant Butte Lake near the town of Truth or Consequences. I'll ride on backcountry dirt roads into the Cibolla National Forest and check out some amazing rock formations at Luna Park. I'll learn about the history of one of the Wild West's most notorious fugitives. And I'll ride through the backcountry to a mysterious rock house that sits abandoned in a unique location overlooking a mighty river in the desert. I'm absolutely having a great time doing this van and motorcycle combination. It's working out so well to be able to go out for a day or overnight on the motorcycle, but then return to the van where I have all of my things. A nice shelter, I don't have to set up camp, I have a refrigerator, power, all that kind of stuff. So it seems to be a winning combination, and I'm just loving it. You might notice that some of this footage is filmed with a camcorder. For whatever reason, I decided to bring my old Sony Handycam on this trip. I don't use it that often, but I figured it would be a fun change of pace to get some footage with an old camcorder. Obviously, it doesn't have the same level of quality as my mirrorless camera, but it's still surprisingly fun to use. As I was leaving, I noticed these guys working on an electrical tower in the distance, so I stopped to check it out. I switched to my Fuji mirrorless camera with a longer lens to get these shots. It's hard to tell exactly what they're doing, but it looks like they're replacing some of the pulleys on the tower. I noticed an old windmill across the highway as I was making my way to a scenic backcountry drive. Turns out this is the largest windmill repair facility in New Mexico. You just never know what you'll see when you drive on the back roads in the West. I'm heading out to one of the campgrounds on Elephant Butte Lake near the town of Truth or Consequences. The lake was created by the construction of the Elephant Butte Dam, completed in 1916. The dam stores water, providing irrigation for New Mexico and West Texas. I'll get the van parked here and head out in the morning on another motorcycle adventure. Man, it sure is nice having a campsite and a van to organize all of my things before every trip. Today's road is number 11 on the Butler Maps New Mexico Adventure Series, kind of a half of a loop that connects to the interstate. We're going to get on down here. We're going to ride the loop, about 31 miles, and we'll see what happens. I've got a few miles of pavement to ride before I hit the dirt roads. So I just left the campsite and the road turned to dirt. It was kind of a rugged 2-track, loose and rocky. And at one point I was going up a hill and this little bike was losing traction and more critically losing power. It didn't just have enough power to really climb that hill the way that I would climb it on a bigger adventure bike. A lot of what I see out there in the adventure bike world are these big motorcycles with 900 cc's, 1200 cc's. And in certain situations that can really help if you're, if you need to just instantly blip on the throttle. But horsepower alone is not always a good thing, because the important thing is that you have to be able to manage that horsepower. It can get out of control really quick. And I think of it kind of like a wild horse. Back in the Wild West days, they would find these wild horses and they would have to go through a process of taming them before they could really use that horse to ride, to explore, to travel on. And it's kind of like that with these big adventure motorcycles. If you don't find a way to control that horsepower and manage the power in the motorcycle, it'll buck you off. Won't get the benefits of the horsepower, or even worse, you could get into some kind of an accident or an injury or something like that. Now this little bike here doesn't have that problem. There's only 9 horsepower coming out of this motor. So I liken this little Honda 125 more to a pony, or maybe a mule. I think of it as a mule because it's certainly a hard-working little bike, and the carrying capacity, as you can see, is pretty awesome. I can really carry a lot on this motorcycle. And so if you want to feel like a cowboy, ride really fast, get yourself a big motorcycle. But if you want to feel more like a prospector, find gold out in these hills, get yourself a little mule. And as stubborn as they are, mules can carry a lot and they get the job done. You won't necessarily have problems that you could have with a much wilder machine. After a bit of gravel, I found this old piece of pavement traveling across the desert landscape. I always wonder about these roads. Who built them, and why were they built? I crossed over Interstate 25 and made my way to the start of the dirt road. The roads I'll be riding today are the Springtime Road and the Luna Park Road. Well, this is the beginning of the road that I'm looking for. One of the best dirt roads in New Mexico lies in that direction. We're going up into those mountains, the Cibolla National Forest. Let's see what lies down this dirt road. A long stretch of smooth gravel brought me closer and closer to the mountains in the distance and the adventure ahead. Okay, I'm about 7 miles in, starting to get twisty, some elevation changes, some nice big corners, you can see for miles. I crossed into the southern end of the Cibolla National Forest and National Grasslands, which has a history spanning thousands of years, from Paleo-Indian settlements to its establishment as a forest reserve in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The name Cibolla is thought to be derived from the Zuni Indian term for their pueblos, or tribal lands. All right, we're gonna head towards the Springtime campground. This looks cool. Wow. Luna Park Road starts here. This is where the ride started to get more interesting as I began entering the mountains, with the dramatic scenery rising up before me. I passed an old windmill, and the road really started getting more challenging. Okay, we've got some steep grades and sharp curves coming up. Let's go see what this looks like. Oh, this is pretty. Look at that rock wall in front of us. How beautiful. Okay, there's some texture here. Oh yeah, lots of loose rock, embedded rock, chunky. No problem for the little mule. All right, that was cool. All right, second gear. Ooh, maybe just not quite enough power. Come on, mule. Okay, let's go back to first gear. We are climbing up. Rocky road ahead. Oh yeah, riding on the edge, baby. Woohoo! Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Wow, how cool was that? The highlight of the ride so far, climbing up that steep, loose, rocky hill. Man, that was fun. So fun on this little tiny bike. Not stressful at all, but just fun. Now I'm up here, which isn't even the top. I still have a ways to go. This turnout after the hard section had amazing views, and I could look back down on the road I just came up. I tell you, that would have been a different story on a big 650, 800, 900, 1200 cc motorcycle. Little Honda Trail 125 made short work of it. In fact, I might just go back and do it again just to get it on helmet camera. I was only rolling on the drone. And I'm still not up at the top yet. There appears to be a couple more switchbacks, and then there's a campground up there, and we'll see what happens after that. I'm pretty much at least halfway through this ride. Everything's going pretty well. It's a beautiful day out here, and I'm not having any issues with riding or the motorcycle or the filmmaking. It's the kind of day that I like. It's just a fantastic, spectacular day. So let's carry on. This is the Luna Park campground, which is situated in a dramatic landscape of towering rocks and boulders. Too bad it's so early in the day. I don't really need to camp, but man, this is kind of paradise. Look at this. Well, I could certainly have lunch here. My, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning, so I don't think I'm going to be setting up camp this early, but this campground looks fantastic. Check it out. I love camping in a place like this. There's nobody up here. I think that rugged dirt road keeps the folks away from here, but they've got picnic tables here. There's a big, beautiful rock wall, all kinds of cool rock formations. There's trees, there's shade. Looks like there's some little caves around here too. If you do this ride and you have the ability or desire to camp out, I highly suggest making a stop up here at Luna Park Campground. This place is awesome. Check it out. So we've got a nice big flat area for camping on. Looks like there's some fire rings and picnic tables here. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. And look at this cave right here. I bet you ancient peoples camp right here in this little hollow. And see all the soot from where fires in the past were up here. And oh look, even right here, there's a petroglyph right here. There's some rock art right there. There's some more right here. Yeah, this would make an ideal shelter. Now, how cool is that? Rock art on the wall right next to this spot where people have been camping for thousands of years. All kinds of nooks and crannies here to explore. Look at all these rocks just stuck in the crack. Came down off the mountain and they got stuck, wedged in here. Never seen anything quite like this. There's a bathroom up here that has one of the most amazing views I've ever seen from a toilet. I kept riding on this amazing road and began to descend through a series of dramatic switchbacks. Just coming down now from 8,000 feet of elevation. I think that might have been the high point. So far, the second half of the ride, I wouldn't say that it's easier. The first half was easy, but there was that kind of technical uphill section. Looks like there was a forest fire on this side of the mountains over here. Hard to say how long ago, but doesn't appear that it was that long ago. Lots of wood piled up on the side of the road from the tree cutters. I arrived at the springtime campground, which had a completely different feel than the campground I was just at. A great place to relax in the forest for a few minutes before I get back on the trail. Well, this is a pretty nice campground here. Springtime campground. They've got fire pits and picnic tables. There's even these cool Adirondack style shelter. But for me, it's a little bit too early to go camping. It's only just after noon. And I don't want to set up camp yet and spend another 5 or 6 hours just sitting around. So I'm going to carry on, probably finish up this road in the early afternoon and then see what comes next. This campground is located on the southeast edge of the Apache Kid Wilderness. The Apache Kid was a scout for the U.S. Army before becoming a renegade. He was involved in various shootouts over the years and spent much of his time either working for the U.S. Cavalry or running away from it. The Arizona Territorial Legislature offered a significant $5,000 reward for his capture, highlighting the fear he inspired. Some say he was ultimately killed by local ranchers, and the spot of his supposed death is marked by a tree that can still be seen today. I headed out of the campground and got back on the main road leading out of the wilderness.
Okay, I'm going to be out of here in no time if the road stays like this. This is a flat, wide, high-speed road descending from the mountains.
I left the national forest and passed back underneath the interstate, looking for a road leading to the next place I wanted to visit, a mysterious rock house located in the desert.
We're coming up upon the river. That's why there's all these green trees down here, because there's water. Well, let's go have a look at the river. Doesn't appear to be any water in it right here. Okay. We get to walk the rest of the way, but that's okay. It's not too far. I can see it right in front of me here. Wow, there we go. Pretty cool.
This is the Rio Grande River, which flows north-south through the middle of New Mexico. The Rio Grande is one of the longest rivers in the United States and an essential source of water in the Southwest. It's amazing to see how water absolutely transforms the desert landscape. Some say that this whole area was covered by water many years ago when the rock house was built. The only way to reach it was by a boat. When Elephant Butte Dam was built and the reservoir filled up, the roads leading to the rock house became submerged under the lake. Today, the water level is lower, so it's possible to ride out to this mysterious rock house in the desert. Others say that the rock house was an early gasoline service station, a store, and a trading post on the old El Paso to Santa Fe highway. Nobody really seems to know the full story of this mysterious rock house in the desert. Well, it's still about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, too early to camp, so I think I'm going to head back into town, back to the van, get some lunch, probably end up camping back at the van tonight, and then get up early tomorrow morning and head to the next road, which isn't too far away from here. In the late afternoon, I rode into the town of Truth or Consequences. I stopped to witness a rainbow in the desert and made my way into the city. One of the things Truth or Consequences is known for is its natural mineral springs. There are about a dozen hot springs resorts here, with a variety of price points and services offered.
All right, here we go. Indian Springs, waterhole number 1.
I chose one of the older ones and paid $5 to soak in a private hot spring for half an hour. It was a great way to end my motorcycle travel adventure in this part of New Mexico. Let me tell you, after a few days of living in a van and riding off-road, this feels just delightful. I've seen a lot of things out here in the desert, and I'm looking forward to more exploring in the coming weeks. I hope that you've had a good time traveling with me on this trip. We'll see you in the next adventure.